sideways, boys in the days. Sittin' sideways, boys in the days. Sittin' sideways, boys in the days. On a Sunday night, I might
All right. Welcome to another episode of Sittin' Sideways. I'm your boy Reezy. You can find me on Twitter and Blueski at Reezy Season. And I'm here with my boy Ike.
Yo, what's good? My name's Ike Cuellar. You can find me on Twitter at Ike Cuellar. That's IKECUELLAR. Make sure you guys are tapped into our podcast, man. Everywhere you get your podcast, especially on YouTube, man. Tap in. This is a great moment, dog.
Yeah. If you were tapped into any of our socials, you would have seen that we were talking mad shit all day. And for good reason. The Rockets came out on top in the most important game we've had since we were in the playoffs in 2020. I'm gonna let you go first because you were at the game, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you go first. You were at the game. I want to hear about like the atmosphere, everything, dog. Tell me like all the details because I missed it so much. I missed being in that crowd so much. I need to hear everything.
So this was the biggest game for us probably in the last 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the atmosphere was ridiculous, bro. You can just imagine it was playoff atmosphere. You can't help but to think of 2018 with everybody being jam packed in there, and it was mostly Rocket fans in there.
Mm-hmm.
There weren't really too many Warrior fans.
Yeah, on the broadcast you couldn't see too much blue or gold or whatever yellow.
Yeah, man, and just to see the dragon has been slain, bro. To see get this monkey off our back and send these motherfuckers home in a meaningful game for the cup, it just means everything to us, man. And you saw the Rockets admin make that tweet as soon as we won with the guy was crying.
Mm-hmm.
It was hilarious, but that's true, bro.
Because it really meant some shit.
You know what I mean?
You know?
Like we haven't won in 15 matchups with these motherfuckers, and we finally did it. The vibes are up, and it's just a big testament to Ime Udoka and what he has brought to his team, man, like what he has implemented on defense, because that is what won us the game. But the vibes were out the roof, man. Like it was the best game I've been to in the last 4 or 5 years, to put it short.
I'm upset that I missed it, but god damn, what a W for the Rockets. Coming off of a 41-41 season where we just missed the playoffs behind Golden State. And it came down to that head-to-head matchup near the end of the year last year. Excuse me. And like you said, 15 straight L's. Like it's one thing to like have a streak where you're losing to a team regularly. Like I think Minnesota and New York have some weird streak like that, or somebody has some streak in Minnesota where they can't win there or something like that. I don't know. But like it's still not a rivalry per se. Ours is such a like one-sided rivalry with this team. And like we have a bunch of reasons why, and they're like most of them are valid reasons. Most of them are not just Homer biased whatever reasons. But a lot of those reasons have to do with officiating and how the game is called when we play Golden State. And seeing them for a decade get away with moving screens, Draymond Green just throwing tantrums in front of refs, just whatever the fuck else, dog, that they get away with. The KD being 6 feet out of bounds and them being like, oh, it doesn't look like anything to me, right? And just letting them play on. For it to come down to the hustle play, where credit to Jalen, like he dove for that ball, and like he got in position for it too, because he was closer to the basket when the ball missed, and he moved closer to the ball to see if he could get the rebound or whatever, the recovery, and he got there, he got in position. And like, say what you will about, oh, they don't usually call that at the end of the game, especially in a game that was refereed so like liberally, I guess, whatever. They weren't blowing their whistle all the fucking time. They were letting them play. And it came down to that one foul. And like, I think 2 of the referees called jump ball, and then Bill Kennedy walked over and was like, no, it was a foul. Look, if I was on the other side of that, yeah, I'd be throwing a tantrum too. But for it to be Golden State that it happened to, and to see Steve Kerr's stupid face on the sidelines going like that, and
Yeah.
Steph Curry like in disbelief, and of course Draymond is yelling at a ref as soon as the final buzzer sounds. To see it all happen on our court, red as hell, like Steve Kerr
Yeah.
looking like hell.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
motherfucker, you came to hell. Welcome to hell. This is
Yes.
what it feels like. This is what losing in a game where the result got ripped out of your hands feels like. Watching James Harden get clawed in the eye with no foul, watching him get knocked down threes and get fouled and then get the shot waved off in the middle of an 0 for 27 drought, and we still have to hear about that shit. 0 for 27. 27 will always be a cursed number for this franchise now.
Mm-hmm.
Not because we missed 27 in a row, but because 27 of our shots didn't count. Some of them missed, some of them waved off. We didn't miss 27 in a row. Some of those went through the basket. So, like, for it to go down to an officiating call, I don't care. Like, that just made it more satisfying to me. And people were like, oh, tonight ref fans win. I was a ref fan. Fuck it. I don't give a fuck. They make all sorts of stupid calls that we have to deal with all the time. And we, more often than not, come out on the bad side of it. And for once, the dice came up, with the number we wanted. They called a foul in favor of Jalen Green, who for however many years, the first 2 years of his career at least, couldn't buy a fucking whistle, right? And now these Golden State fans want to try and convince me that the NBA is rigged against Steph Curry, Wardell, Stephen Curry. What they have it out for him now? Like, get the fuck out of here! I don't want to hear shit from Warriors fans. I don't want to hear shit from people who are like, oh, it would have been better if it was Warriors versus Thunder. No, I don't want to see the playoffs have Golden State in them again. No, I don't want to see it anymore. I want to see something new. Even if it wasn't the Rockets, I wouldn't be rooting for Golden State, personal reasons or otherwise. I don't want to see that team. I wouldn't be rooting for the Lakers either. Let me see Minnesota. Let me see, I don't know, on the East, I want to see the Magic. I want to see some new teams. I don't want to see the Sixers anymore. They had their run. They fucked it up. They couldn't win. Golden State had their run. They did win. It's over. They don't need to be rigging it in favor of Golden State anymore. So shout out to Bill Kennedy for calling an actual foul at the end of the game. I don't give a fuck that it isn't usually called. Deal with it, Warriors. Go back home to San Francisco, to your cursed ass new arena that isn't Oracle.
No, you're right, brother. Cook. And like you said, I don't want to hear none of that shit, bro. I ain't trying to hear none of that bullshit. As many times that we have gotten screwed with those calls, and not just Warrior games, like all the
Warrior
games. You know what I mean? How many times have we had the short end of the stick in those, crucial calls? There was a couple of plays before that where Şengün just got clobbered by Draymond and didn't call shit. They was just like letting him tackle him, pushing him down in the paint and shit. And I'm like, I'm not trying to hear none of that. But for us, dude, it was so awesome to see, Jalen make that play, because I think he's going to grow a lot from this. And it's really going to teach him and show him, look, even though it probably was a bad offensive night for the team overall because we were shooting bad in threes, you could still make a play at the end defensively that can win you the game. And that's exactly what happened. He threw himself on the floor and you know what I'm saying? He made that play, and he still had to make the free throws, the clutch free throws.
Yeah.
When he got fouled and he was walking towards the other side to shoot the free throws, it was so fucking loud in Toyota Center, where some of the players had to tell the crowd, like, hey, chill, like, let him, you know what I'm saying, concentrate and try to make these free throws.
Got to lock in, and he did.
But this is what it takes to beat a team like that, where your team has to play solid defense for 48 minutes. I mean, you slack up for one quarter and you lose the game because they'll go, on the run. And we saw it the last 3 minutes, they didn't score shit, bro. That's a big testament to our defense. And that's why it's our identity as a basketball team, bro. Like, this is what we're all about. We hang our hats on that defensive side of the ball. And it was just beautiful to see. And Steve Kerr, fuck you, dog. Like, we're not trying to hear none of that shit, bro. Like, you said you were pissed off. He, like, walked off, the press conference or what, the post game. Bro, how many times you think we felt like that? You deal with it. And maybe don't foul, bro. Maybe don't foul at the end.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was the foul.
Why didn't Gary Payton just call a timeout?
Exactly.
Why did Steph Curry take that night shot that he was trying to hit? He wanted to stunt on that crowd so bad. He wanted to like knock the air out of that building so bad.
Yes.
And he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. The greatest shooter of all time, he couldn't do it. Deal with it. Like you have your rings and your MVPs and all that shit to console you. Fucking deal with it. Quit throwing tantrums and shit. And sorry, not to interrupt, but like Steve Kerr in that press conference, like what an absolutely like disgraceful display for a head coach to like be such a sore fucking loser. Like he should be up there being like, yeah, they stopped us from scoring for the last quarter of the fourth quarter. Like the last 3 minutes they were locked out, and Steph Curry's heaving threes with 12 seconds on the clock. Like that's what he should be upset about. Gary Payton passing the ball instead of calling a timeout. That's what he should be upset about. Them fouling instead of just letting us get the timeout, because one way or another, we're shooting free throws. You know, Jalen's going to take it out, or somebody's shooting free throws. Whoever gets the ball and gets fouled is shooting free throws or something, whatever. But it ain't going to be, you know, you don't get to blame the fucking refs in a match that close, that physical. Like, man up. Tell your fucking team to, like, play the game correct, you know?
No, you're right, bro.
I don't know if you followed the channel on YouTube. I think it's called Awful Coaching. He posted a video today of Steve Kerr during that game, and he went off. He went off on Steve Kerr and Steve Kerr's son. And he was just like, this idiot is just sitting on the bench, not coaching. And there were like multiple plays of the same mistake that they made over and over and over again. He's like, why are you whining about the refs on one play at the end of the game when there is a clear like cause and effect problem that's diagnosable, and you're sitting quietly on the sidelines instead of coaching you guys and fixing it? And I'll say this as my last thing. Draymond, to his credit, I know, right? To his credit, on his podcast was like, we can't let it like come down to something we can't affect, like we can't control. Like he even said, he's like, I've been on the other side of that with officiating, and he's like, I've been on this side of it with officiating or whatever. And like, what we have to focus on moving forward is what can we improve? Like, what mistakes can we fix? That's the response Steve Kerr should have had, not Draymond. Draymond is the one who should be throwing the tantrum. So credit to Draymond for handling this loss better than his fucking head coach. And Steve Kerr, like, just grow a pair of nuts. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, how many times have you beat down our franchise that you can't let us have this quietly? You know?
Yeah. No, you're right, bro.
It's embarrassing. That's the U.S. Olympic head coach, isn't it? You just won the Olympics, dude. Why are you crying over the NBA Cup?
And the thing is, Reezy, like, you expect more from a championship coach to not point the fingers at the end of the game like that and be crying like a little bitch that he is. You know what I mean? Just, you know, blaming everything on one fucking call when your team was asked the last 3 minutes. I don't know if you saw my tweet during the game when I said our defense has these motherfuckers lost, bro. In the first half, when we had like a big lead on them, they didn't know what to do, how to react, how to adjust to that swarming defense by the Rockets. And you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to expect more from a championship coach instead of him just like pouting and, you know, being a little bitch about it. But credit to whoever was in charge of making the court the way it was with the all red, everything.
It looks sick.
Because yes, y'all were in hell, dog. And that's exactly what happened in that game with our defense. And it just looked dope, man. Like the whole stadium was all red. You know, that's my color, dog. That's all I wear because of the squad. So it was just the best game literally that I've ever been to. Besides the game 7 when we came back on the Clippers in 2016, I think that was probably the best game I've ever been to.
You go all these fucking good games. I'm jealous.
I'm sorry, bro. Sorry, bro.
You the in-person reporter. You're our expert fan. All right, we'll keep it moving. I wanted to highlight a couple things from the game other than Steve Kerr's bitch ass. Alp cooked, all right, with Draymond on him, four-time, I don't need, not 4-time, however many time defensive player of the year, 2-time. he was cooking, and like Draymond was being pretty physical. There was that one foul where most of us thought it should have been a flagrant because he like dragged him to the ground. Um, and it looked a
Oh
little
yes,
like it
yes.
looked a little dangerous. I think that's why most of us were like, "Hey, what the fuck? Chill out." Because like, if Tari Eason did that to Steph Curry, Draymond would be throwing hands. You know what
Oh
I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Like, don't fuck around with our franchise players. So like, everybody was like, "Hey, chill out," and we thought at least like a flagrant, but Bill Kennedy was like, "No, not in this case." Maybe it was the makeup call. Who knows? But shout out to Alp. He cooked. I think it was or 26, 11 and 5. I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's a great stat line to put up in an NBA Cup game, the biggest game of his career. Um, Jalen, biggest hit game of his career. He came up clutch with a clutch play and clutch free throws, like you said, ice in his veins. Um, there were a couple guys who weren't too effective. Tari didn't show me as much as I wanted to see, although he did have his moments, and he was, I'm pretty sure, net positive. Same with Fred. He got hunted a lot on defense, which is like that's gonna happen. And with like Steph Curry being the one on the other team doing the attacking, that's tough. It's Steph Curry. He did what he could, but pretty much everybody else, Bari was hitting shots from rip. He was hitting shots. Amen cleaning shit up, playing amazing defense. Yeah, I didn't really have any other major problems. And Ime tightened up the rotation, turned it into like a playoff rotation, right? We only played like 7 guys really. Maybe 8 if you count Aaron Holiday instead of Reed Shepard, which shout out to Jackson for highlighting that Reed Shepard isn't not playing because he's bad. You just have Aaron Holiday sitting there who's like steady vet presence. That's who you want in those situations, not a rookie. You don't want to put him in the fire like that when
Yeah,
we don't have to.
he's just more confident right now and like, shooting wise. So it
Mhm.
makes sense.
Yeah. Excuse me. I don't know how the hell my voice just cracked. I'm 30 years old. Um, but shout out to Brandon Pajemski, who played like pretty badly for most of it, but kind of saved it at the end for his game. But he was getting cooked a little bit, not hitting his shots. Thank God Wiggins wasn't in, because I think if he was in, I don't know if we would have won, because he always seems to go off against us. Now that he's playing for Golden State, he didn't used to. Much like Tim Hardaway Jr. on the Mavericks. Um, yeah, I think that's everything I really wanted to like really highlight. Uh,
I got a
just
few
like shout out to
things.
Ime and the defense, man. Sorry, what were you saying?
No, I have a few things, man, before I forget.
Yeah, go.
Shout out to Fred, man, for making that big three at the end because we weren't making
Yeah,
our
bro.
threes.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a huge shot by Fred, man, off the inbound play where they found him right there in the corner and he busted it. And then I think after that, LP scored the two, easily. Credit to Ime for drawing up that play and just letting them go to work. But I want to just highlight LP a little bit more, man, because on defense, he was outstanding for that game. Even a couple of times when he was in the perimeter, he really held his own, off of picks. And, our defense is really switching everything, right? So we force teams to play one-on-one. And I think that's why we're so great. That's why we're in the top 2 or top 3, because we force teams to play one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where your superstars come into play to, make some ISO shots. But man, Alp did his thing last night, man. Defensively, he was everywhere. He had the most points for us. And that's our guy, dude. Like whenever we needed a bucket at the end or when to run the offense through him, that's our bread and butter. So he did his thing last night, man. I just wanted to give him his flowers because you could really tell his defense has really stepped up this year.
Yeah, for sure. He not just his defense has like stepped up, like because a lot of that can be effort, but then that turns into like reckless fouling, which is what
Yeah.
he used to do. He used to compensate for his lack of like defensive skills with defensive effort, which would turn into fouls. He'd get played off or not played off the court, but he wouldn't be able to play. You couldn't risk him fouling out. Especially when we didn't have anybody else. But now it's not even a concern. Like I don't remember the last time I was worried about Alpi racking up fouls or getting fouls early. So yeah, shout out to his much improved defense. And this is a guy who people were saying like he's never going to be a positive defender. They were confidently saying that about him. They were like he's too slow laterally, doesn't have enough hops, which that was never true. We've seen him putting people on posters since his rookie year. But that's what they would say, right? Is like he's not athletic enough. He's not a defensive big. He's a two-way big now. It's stamped.
Yeah,
He's excellent. He is anchoring
absolutely.
the second best or third best, like you said, whatever it is. Top five. He's anchoring a top five defense in the NBA. And he's
Mhm.
doing it consistently. And he's doing it while carrying the offensive load and playing like an engine. And he's doing that without any spacing because we can't shoot for shit. Ben Sullivan, what do you do?
No, yeah.
Well, I had
We
to ask
just,
because we're playing the Thunder tomorrow, dog. I need the shooting to pick up. Every time I ask, it happens.
yeah,
It's
man.
going for 50.
At some point, man, we have to address that really soon because it's not
It's
getting
embarrassing.
better. You know what I mean? And we're not gonna be able to, go to the next level that we're trying to get at if we just don't have some consistent shooting. Not even like great shooting, like just some
League average.
consistent shooting. Yeah, like just get some kind of consistency in there. I think right now Fred is basically the only one that's making threes, and sometimes he gets hot and cold. You just never know
That's
what
the
type of
crazy
game
thing,
it
man.
is.
Like, not to interrupt, but you're saying like, and you're right. Fred is the only one who can like be like semi dependable, and he's shooting like the worst he shot his career.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly,
So
exactly.
like, we really need some shooting. Like you said, we even get to like we don't need excellent shooting. We just need average shooting. We can get there with this defense. We're contenders. Period. Over.
Yeah,
Like, there's no discussion. We are already the second seed, and we can't buy a bucket. It was what, like we were shooting 7% from three in the first half or first quarter or something.
yeah, man, it
Seven
was
percent,
crazy. Yeah,
7. Like, that's absurdly bad. That's like anomalous level bad. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's
that.
unacceptable. It's
It's a
unacceptable.
yeah. So like for NBA players, like actual NBA players to be shooting 7%, there's no way they're practicing as much as they should be. Like, it's embarrassing. We were saying like Amen Thompson may never become a 3-point shooter. Yeah, last year he was shooting like 25%. Team was shooting 7. Like, we can't, and we won the game. That's how good our defense is. So like if we can just get a little bit of offense sprinkled on top, it's over. Like, and
Yes.
Ime is saying, like, I don't know, he's had a couple of interviews recently. I don't know which one it was. Um, but he was saying he likes to be a balanced coach. He does want offense and defense. I appreciate a lot that he focused so much on defense first. Like, clearly that's been the priority in the first 2 years. But like, all right, dude, mission accomplished on one end. We need to get some offense rolling here. Like, it can't just be, I don't know which one of the possessions. I think it was the one where Alp did the Dirk, like turnaround Dirk shot over Draymond, and he just kind of looks at everybody else because he, for a couple of seconds, he was in the paint just looking for somebody to cut, somebody to move. 4 dudes standing on the perimeter not moving, and it's just like, I know y'all are gassed from playing amazing defense, but somebody's got to cut. And if nobody can cut in that unit, if everybody is that gassed, sub in Tari, sub in Amin. They have insane
Yeah.
engines. They'll cut. They can dunk. They can't. I mean, Tari, he's still iffy on his layups, but he can dunk. So we need that energy. We need that something on offense. We need something, anything on offense. And the shooting, if we get a little bit of shooting, they can't double. They can't double Shengun anymore. It's over. He'll
Yeah.
feast in the paint. All we need is a little bit of shooting. So
And think about this, Reezy. Think about this. The fact we won this huge game versus the Warriors with us shooting as poorly as we did, that's a really good sign. Super impressive team on the come up. But like we're talking, if you just improve a little bit, bro, we're gonna make the playoffs, potentially a top 5 seed, in my opinion.
I
You know
think
what
we'll
I
have home
mean?
court. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
Probably against everybody. Maybe not the Grizzlies. I think it's like Grizzlies, Thunder are the only ones I'm like, yeah, I think they're better than us. Everybody else, I'm like, we could punch them in the mouth and it's a game. It's a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else. Everybody else is either too old, too injured, or fucked up like Minnesota. Like, why the hell did you trade Cat? Like, I get it. Whatever. But like, why did you trade Cat? You know what I'm saying? They're fucked. So the West is still a bloodbath, but it's a lot more like, it's a lot more wide open for us than it was last year. I think there were a lot more teams that were objectively better than us last year, and there's a lot more teams that are like kind of mid this year, like mid playoff teams. So yeah, I think we're gonna be amazing, like defensively for the foreseeable future. I just need to see a little bit of shooting Bari's starting to hit his shots lately, which
Mhm.
Jabari Truthers, shout out, we up. I've
Yeah.
been saying this for like 3 years now. Hell, he was my pick before the draft, so I'm staying on this. I don't remember what it was called, Jabari Bus, something like that. But I'm staying on it. Like I've been on it. He's had some cold streaks, whatever, but he's always put in effort on defense. Even if he got cooked, he put in effort, and he's always grabbed rebounds, and he can shoot now.
So
What you
I
got?
want
I can
to.
tell you sitting on something. What you get?
So I want to add this because I'm somewhat of a delusional fan when it comes to my team. I'm super
You're
biased.
all delusional at times.
You know what I mean? And when I met Jabari at the Galleria at the NBA store, I spoke to him for a little bit, and I told him, I forgot when it was. I think it was like November probably. But I told him, I said, "Dog, you have to shoot more." And he looked at me with a big smile on his face, and he was like, like, "Yeah, dog, like you have to shoot more." And he was like, "Man, I got you."
He's
So
still that dude that was at Auburn, dog. He's still
yeah,
that dude.
yeah,
I
like
still believe in it. And you're right. He just needs to shoot it. He needs to let it rip.
if the confidence is up, dude, he can get back hot how he was. You know what I'm saying? Like a couple years ago when he was just like making game winning
Mm-hmm.
shots and 3-pointers at the buzzer and stuff. Like we still believe in Jabari, and he's shown a lot defensively. So yeah, Jabari, like what I'm saying, stands we up right now. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
We used to say it a lot more during the Silas years, but like you got to give these guys time. And Jabari's the like youngest one, other than I think Reed and Cam, who are significantly they were drafted like 2 years after him. He's younger than Tari, he's younger than Amen, he's younger than Alp, and he's younger than Jalen of the whatever core seven. He's number 5. So like I'm expecting less from him than like Amen at this point, you know?
Yeah.
And he's delivering. He's delivering way past my expectations now. So like get him a real shooting coach because Ben Sullivan ain't cutting it. And like if he gets to Tari's averages, we're cooking. You know what I'm saying? For the season, because Tari's playing well. He shoots relatively well from three. Dylan Brooks does shoot relatively well from three. He's got a weird shot. Have you noticed that? He's like very rigid in his shot, Dylan Brooks. And he's
Dylan,
got like a
yeah,
wide stance. It's an
yeah.
interesting shot, but it works for him.
It
And it
goes in
looks
sometimes, yeah.
smooth. So he's hit clutch shots. He's hit a ton of back-to-back shots for us. So like that's important for this team to get offensive momentum going. Because do you remember the Warriors game when Tari brought us back from like a 30-point deficit?
Yep.
It was like 31 or something. We sent it to overtime.
We should have
That
won
game
that game too.
was entirely only a game, only went to overtime because of offensive momentum. Because they kept ripping the Warriors and getting the dunks, getting the layups, transition offense, defense turning into offense. Like it's fine to like have your whatever half court offense set up and do all that shit, but this team thrives on momentum both ways. When the offensive momentum is good, they're insane on defense, and that's what we saw in that game. So like, I think just a little bit of shooting, a little bit of movement. It doesn't have to be like a full motion offense around Shingun or whatever. It doesn't have to be that. Just something, you know. I'm just asking for something. You,
Bro,
we're gonna cook.
I'm not a basketball coach by any stretch of the imagination, and those are professionals. We got the best staff in the world that are helping these guys, practice every day. But I have suggestions, maybe things that could help, that I always think about. You know what I mean? Like
Y'all ever heard of a pick and roll?
pick and roll, maybe do some drills, moving without the ball, catching threes without dribbling and letting them go off. Things like that just focuses on shooting the three, like
Getting guys open
with quickness, bro, like fast release, on pace, like hitting guys in the shooting pocket, ready to shoot. Things like that is what I think about because how are we shooting this bad, bro? And still, what I'm saying, finding ways to win is impressive, but it'll come around. I really, believe in this team and the staff and everything, and I think it'll come around and maybe we can make a deal before the trade deadline for a shooter. And I think it'll come around eventually, man. But my tips are just, I'm delusional. Like I said earlier, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean
I
we're,
don't know
we're like
everything.
mostly
You know
joking.
what I mean?
Obviously,
Yeah.
they spam pick and roll with Fred and
They
Alp,
do
so we know
everything in
like
practice.
we're just fucking around. But like they got to add something. There's something missing, obviously, from the offense. So like identify it, figure it out, implement it. Let's fucking go. Like this team's window just opened. This is the season it opened. It wasn't there last year. We couldn't make the playoffs. Too many teams competing, contending, whatever in the West. But we're in it this year. We're second seed. It's halfway through December. We're still the second seed. So like we have
Yes,
a
sir.
fighting chance. Like don't fuck this up. Like and expectations are still low. So like even if we don't win up, we don't have to get to the conference finals. That would be dope, but we don't have to get there. Just like something to like prove we're real on the
Yeah.
offensive side. Because like Charles Barkley was being a dick when he was like, these kids don't know how to play basketball at all. But like I get what he was saying. Like when your defense is that good, it should not have been a 1 point game. Period. That
Man,
defense
shout
was stifling for that first half. It should,
Yeah.
and their defense was not that good. But our offense is so anemic at times that they couldn't get anything done. So I get where he's coming from with that.
Man, shout out to Mark Berman who cooked Charles Barkley on Twitter today, and he said, "Me and Charles Barkley have one thing in common: we have the same amount of championships." I was like, "Holy shit, Mark Berman, the goat, bro!
Mark Berman
That's
is
why
straight
he's
from-
the goat."
He's probably tweeting that from Bush, waiting for the trade, the trades to go through, see who's coming into town. Mark Berman's a savage.
bro.
He's a real one.
Hey, bro, let me add this too before I forget.
Yeah, go ahead.
The cherry on top obviously was Steve Kerr bitching like a, you know what I'm saying?
Bitch.
Like how you heard it, like a bitch at the end of the game. And also on Draymond's podcast, you heard him say he hasn't been this hurt about a game since the 2016 Game 7. And that means everything to me. Yes, I hope that you fucking get food poisoning, and I hope LeBron James never hangs out with you ever again. Like, I hope LeBron blocks you on social media. Like, that will kill him, bro.
That would be worse for him than losing the game.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, when he said that, I was thinking, I was like, you know how many times I've had that feeling against the Warriors where I was like, I haven't felt this bad about basketball since like however many years ago. And for him to openly admit it, like, I kind of respect that, but like, God, I hope it hurt, man. I hope it hurt like a mother. I hope your week is ruined. He was like, I couldn't sleep. I was like, good. Do you know how many sleepless nights the Warriors have caused me? Good.
Yes,
fuck you, dude. Like, now you know how it feels to have the game ripped out of your hands. And yeah, just fuck them. Fuck the Warriors. They're done. We beat them. Enjoy not being in Vegas. Oh, are you going to Vegas?
No, I wanted to, man, but
I was about to get real mad, but I'm a chill.
Yeah, I wanted to, man, but it just, didn't go down.
That's my one issue with the NBA Cup is the Vegas part of it. Yeah. Which, like, I get they're trying to build the Vegas basketball market before they expand and all that bullshit. But who the hell has time to get to Vegas? The game ended Thursday night. I'm not getting to Vegas by Saturday. Are you kidding me? I want to see my team play.
In December,
it should be
too,
home
bro.
court. The Thunder should be. We should be playing in Oklahoma City tomorrow, not in Vegas.
Bro, I would drive to OKC if that was
right.
Like, I would literally
OKC would be reasonable for Houston fans to get to. And it's not like when LA went, right? Because they're right next to Las Vegas. It's not a big drive for them. It's not a big flight for them. But both of these teams that are going to Vegas right now, all of these teams that are going to Vegas right now, like, for what reason? They're all going to be off of their schedules now. It's not a home court event for anybody. The Thunder being the 1 seed doesn't matter for anything. So, like, I don't know. It's weird. I don't like it. But NBA Cup as a whole, love it.
Yeah,
huge success.
Yeah.
I initially, when they implemented it, I was like, this thing is soccer. Like, don't do this shit. But having meaningful, competitive games like we had yesterday in December, yeah, sign me up. Let's do another one in like February. I don't give a fuck. Like,
last year I wasn't a big fan of it because it was so blatant that they wanted the Lakers to win it, and we clearly saw it last year, bro. Like, it was pathetic. You know what I'm saying? But this year they kind of were like, okay, they suck this year, so we don't have to worry about that. We can actually, put some good teams on there that have actually been winning, that are actually worth talking about. And it showed like it's a good product. They said a lot of the ratings are down for whatever reason because of big market teams or whatever. But man, we don't give a fuck.
I had that written out. I wanted to touch on that, so I'll go ahead. Sorry, not to interrupt, but I'm gonna go.
We took care of business. They didn't. That's what it comes down to. I don't want to hear none of that shit, bro. Like, y'all had the same chances that we did, and y'all just didn't take care of business, period.
Yeah, facts. For me, the fans who are like, oh, ratings are going down. There's going to be small market teams, which like Houston and Atlanta. I don't know how we're small market teams, but small market teams are winning. Oh, no one's going to tune in. If you are so worried about ratings and ticket prices and whether or not people are going to tune in, you're not a basketball fan. You're a reality TV fan. You're more worried about who's getting traded where. You probably have a basketball player as your Avi. You probably throw slurs at people who question them.
Yep.
That's the kind of piece of shit that you are. And so, like, at the end of the day, if you're talking to me about ratings, I don't give a fuck. People who are worried about like whether the NBA makes money or not, there's nothing less that I'm concerned about than what Adam Silver thinks of the Rockets. If he's not
Facts.
like meddling with the game, then I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? And like I don't think he is. Personally. Maybe the Warriors fans think different, but I don't give a fuck. Like this, why would you not want fresh talent to get the center stage right now when the old guard is getting old, retiring? Like LeBron is Father Time is undefeated, dude. LeBron is finally declining a little bit. Steph Curry is out. Kawhi is MIA. Who the hell knows? Harden's having one of the best seasons he's had since he left Houston, but that's not saying much either. So like, why would you not want the Thunder, the Rockets, Atlanta, Milwaukee, whatever? But these young teams, Josh Johnson, SGA, Alperen Şengün, why do you not want to establish these guys as the next generation of stars? It doesn't make sense to me when fans are the ones pushing that, who are like, oh, this isn't going to be fun because it's not LeBron versus Steph Curry again. Again, you want to see that again? We've seen it like 18 times. I don't care anymore. They're like best friends. They're thinking about teaming up. That's what they're concerned about. They're more concerned about whether LeBron's going to San Francisco. So why don't y'all worry about that? Quit pretending like you care about ratings and just be a reality TV fan. That's fine. Gamble, make your little parlays, send the death threats when you lose because you're a degenerate gambler, and keep it moving. You don't care about the sport. If you care about the sport, all you would care about was look at these young teams showing out. Like how cool. When was the last time, like the Thunder were the last time a young team showed out like this, where we're like, holy shit, they got so much talent. They're making moves. They're like actually pushing the game forward. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want to see in the game, regardless of who it is. So I'm so sick and tired of fans being like, I want to see Giannis versus LeBron, Jimmy Butler versus LeBron. I don't give a fuck about them anymore. They're old. It's done. Let the new guys have the stage now.
Facts. And my boy is cooking with gas right now. Y'all make sure y'all hear that, man. Bring it back if y'all have to. He was cooking with gas. But my 2 cents to that, Reezy, is that's how you can tell the casuals over the real basketball fans, because real basketball fans, you don't really care who's playing. You'll still watch the game. I mean, if you see bullshit, you're going to call it out regardless. But that's how you can tell the casuals from the real ones. And like the way the Hawks beat the Knicks, I thought that was sick. You know what I'm saying? And Trae Young was like shooting dice, the Knicks court.
Yes.
Like that was
so much to the game.
Yes.
Trae Young, for all the like shit he gets for not being Luka Doncic, adds so much to the game every time he goes to Madison Square Garden.
Yes.
Every single time. I guarantee you, I tweeted this yesterday. I guarantee you, when he retires, MSG his last year will give him a standing ovation. Yeah. I guarantee it. They will be booing the shit out of him. They'll be saying, fuck Trae Young. They'll be chanting, fuck Trae Young. But they will be up on their feet. And if you want to energize fans like that, if you want to give them a reason to get on their feet, that's the type of shit you need. You don't need LeBron doing his thing again. You don't need Steph Curry going like this again. You need new guys doing new shit, making the game exciting, talking shit. You need scrappy teams like the Rockets. You need the Thunder barking at the end of games, even if it's corny. You need characters in this league.
Yes, bro.
Like, it is what it is, but you need characters.
Let's move on from that generation already. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
no,
you read from that. I was like, all right, enough ranting.
No. I was like, let's move on from LeBron and Steph Curry. We saw that already too many times. Let these new guys cook. Like, that rivalry they have going on, it's a lot of Reggie Miller vibes. And I used to love that rivalry, dude, like growing up watching basketball. I was like, man, let me see what Reggie's gonna do this game against the Knicks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that adds a whole nother element to the game and makes these games spicy, like entertaining. It's just everything a basketball fan wants to see is what the Cup is bringing to the game.
Yes, 100% agree on that. And to keep it going, the only like I said earlier, I don't give a fuck what Adam Silver thinks. I do care that he lets this type of shit happen though. Like the rolling the dice, stepping on Lucky the Leprechaun or whatever. Like that shit needs to happen.
Okay.
He has to let that because the NFL is against that type of shit, right? They're
Yeah.
always punishing celebrations. They don't want dudes standing out. In a game where you're already wearing a helmet, you need more spotlight on players. That's why Cam Newton was huge during his MVP run, right? He was dancing all over the place. And like whatever people he said making a fool of himself. People said he was doing that, but like he became a character. He became bigger than just that quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. He was Cam Newton now. You know what I'm saying? So like every generation of the NBA has had those guys, even when they're quiet guys like Tim Duncan. That's still character. I don't need you to be loud and annoying. The Spurs, for however boring they were as a dynasty, because of their success, because of their discipline, the way they played the game, they still had character and they kept that consistent during their run. So like when that generation went out, when T-Mac, Yao, Timmy, Kobe, all those guys retired, the game only got more skilled. The more better players, like there's more good players now. You know what I'm saying? Like the game just gets better as it evolves. And we don't need to like stifle that next generation by like clinging on to what we grew up with. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not what we grew up with, but what this generation grew up with. That's like so against new teams. I don't know what it is. Like part of it, I know we're going along on this, but part of me thinks that it's that like player fan culture, which like I know I'm gonna sound like a fucking old head right now, but player OnlyFans make no sense to me. You know, I didn't realize it until I said it.
Hey,
But
they gotta cook.
It makes no sense to me because what are you loyal to? Other like I get you're loyal to this one person, right? But it's just it's a brand at the end of the day. LeBron doesn't know you, dog. James Harden doesn't know you.
Cook.
Right? Riding this hard for one person, like the Rockets will do shit for the community. They will do the watch parties. They'll do giveaways. Stone will come hang out with us, you know, when we're partying pregame. Shit like that happens as a team, like as a unit. If you're part of that team culture, how do you ever build any sort of loyalty or team culture when everybody's just loyal to one guy? And like they're not even loyal to one guy. If one guy has an off month, they're like, oh, now I'm whatever. It's NBA YoungBoy Abby with a Trae Young shirt on this week, a Trae Young jersey on this week. But let Trae Young have a bad stretch, they're gonna be right back on Giannis's dick, right back on Luka's, Kyrie's, whoever. And it's like you don't build any sort of like respect for the game that way. If you're just jumping like from who's a MVP candidate to SGA has so many goddamn dick riders right now. And like for how talented he is, sure, dude, I get it. But my favorite Thunder fans to interact with are the ones who rode through those in between KD, that bad Russ years. Mm-hmm. Those are real Oklahoma City fans. Those guys are fun to argue with because they know all the deep cuts when you argue. If you talk to a SGA fan, dog, they're comparing his underwear commercial to Donovan Mitchell's. They're saying Donovan Mitchell outpackaged us. This is the discussion that's being had. Like, I don't want to do this. I want to be able to talk shit about the Thunder. I don't care about Shea's meat.
Bro, these motherfuckers are so weird talking about that online. Like, are you serious right now? Like, you guys are really talking about that? But I also feel, Reezy, I feel like that's such an easy way to be a miserable fan. Because, like you said, if he has an off night or he's not, making his shots for a month or so, then you're, like, jumping to somebody else. You know what I mean? So, like, loyalty is something, you know what I'm saying, you can't buy. That's why it's so much better when you're loyal and your team comes up the way that we have, because it means so much more. And the games are so fucking lit, bro. Like, I've been waiting for, like, I always say this, but I used to pray for times like this, bro. Like, I really did. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Like, when we had Silas as coach, it was I don't even want to think about those years.
Dog, that losing streak,
Yes.
that one Silas losing streak, I was reconsidering. I was like, man, I need to focus on my career. You know what I'm talking about? Like, that's what I was thinking at the time. I was like, I don't have time to be a fan of a team that's like this bad. But I just had that love in my heart for the Rockets growing up and watching them, and just like the competition, the effort, even when it was just T-Mac being like, I tried, man, and crying. I was like, this shit means something to me. I'm from Houston. This shit means something. We're so blessed to have such a storied franchise that has had its ups and downs, a lot of downs. But like, I'm so lucky to have gone through those downs, because it makes this moment right now when we beat the Warriors feel so fucking good. And people were clowning us, especially DJ. Shout out to DJ. I love that dude. They were clowning him for like being emotional in the spaces. They were clowning the whole space for being emotional. But like, how much more lucky can you get as a fan that a game in December is making you emotional? Like, we got so lucky with this team. And like, I'm constantly like, how do I feel more of this right now? Like, how do I feel all of it right now? Because it's what we've been waiting for so long. We went through so much bullshit from like Harden asking out the way he did to everybody's a locker room cancer. John Wall sitting drama. Everybody talking shit about the Rockets as an organization. Like, think about the way the Rockets are talked about today. Like, just today, how well they're respected because of Udoka's offense. Like, just how everybody praises their young core, their drafting ability. How everybody's so high on Şengün. He's like on the MVP ladder right now, on under like honorable mentions or something, but still top 15 for MVP ladder. We got a top 15 player.
We also got to.
Sorry, go ahead.
We also got to give some flowers to Raphael Stone, bro. You know what I'm saying? He's been cooking with the drafting, everything.
Dude, he had a vision. He executed it. You know what I'm saying? People used to clown him for being like optionality, whatever. The options he chose got us right here. Yes. You know what I'm saying? They held out. They got Udoka. They drafted the right guys. They made the right trades. Just like, think about how we're talked about today versus how we were talked about when that John Wall interview dropped and he was like naming the starting lineup. He couldn't even think of the guy's name. And people were like, the Rockets are a fucking joke. They're never coming back from this. Like, we were 1-1 competing with the Pistons for who could be the worst in the league. Like, not 2 years ago, dude. It was dark. So like, to be able to go through that as a fan, come out the other side and see this, the light, not just the light at the end of the tunnel, dude. I feel like I'm showering in it right now. Yes. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't get enough Rockets content, NBA content. And this is how you make fans. You have to convince people to be a fan of a team. Because being a fan of a player, yeah, like you said, you could have an up night and a down night. Jalen FC, sure. Like, some nights, yeah, 40 points, 41 points, whatever it is. You're up. You're talking mad shit to everybody. But some nights when he's got 9 points on like 4 of 16 shooting, why would you feel like shit if the Rockets won? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If it's a dub, it's a dub. Jalen learned how to play in his role, and we started winning when he was dropping like 12 points because he's playing amazing defense, hustling, getting rebounds. Even if it's just 12 points, we win. I'm on cloud 9. You know what I'm saying? I don't know fuck what his personal performance was.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, I give somewhat of a fuck, but it's not gonna dictate my night. That's all I'm saying.
And shout out to him, man, for hitting those clutch free throws. Those were huge, dog. You know what I mean?
He didn't even look like shaken by the moment.
No, because Toyota was going nuts, and it was so fucking loud in there, and everybody had to chill for a second. And he like icing his veins, walked up, hit both of them like nothing.
He walked up to that free throw line like he did in that Paco Rabanne commercial. Have you seen that shit? Where he's like smoldering at the camera, walking up to it. He walked right up to that line and stunk both of those free throws. Yes, and sir. Steph Curry and Draymond Green couldn't believe that shit. Yeah, that's what happens. Sometimes the refs decide the game, motherfucker. That's how I feel. Deal with it. All right, let's finally move on. Thunder. We've played them recently. They didn't have Chet and they didn't have Alex Caruso that time. They won't have Chet tomorrow, but they will have Alex Caruso. So let's get it out of the way first. Predictions. We winning or losing?
We winning, dog. You know better than to ask me, dog. You know what I'm saying? We don't
I knew you could say winning, but
to be fair, like, it is going to be a tougher game because uh, they match up with us well, man. And last game that we played them, it was a close game, and it took one of Fred's rainbow shot that went in
Mhm.
to beat them. Which, you know what I'm saying, Kratos has been clutch down the stretch. But I think they're gonna come out hungrier. It's gonna be tougher. SGA's been on, on a tear lately here, just making some crazy shots. It's so hard to defend that guy, even if you're playing him like one on one. When you switch everything and that's what you want as a defense, right? But that guy is still gonna make the shot when it's a better offense and defense type of moment.
Mhm.
And I just think that it's going to be a really tough game. But like I said before, with our defense being so stingy, you're always going to have a chance at the end of the game. You're going to be in the mix. It's just about making your shots, bro, making your open shots that really we generate all the time. We
Mhm.
just can't hit them motherfuckers. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I think it's going to come down to hitting wide open threes, man, to be honest.
Yeah, it seems like because they double Şengün so often and he can hit those passes, there's always opportunities for open shots. But like you said, we just can't hit them right now. Um, yeah, I agree with most of what you said. I think Shea is really the difference maker in my opinion because like if you think about it, that season where we knocked him out of the playoffs when they had Chris Paul, that was the year they started their rebuild. They started in the playoffs because they traded Russ away for the picks and CP3, and then I think did CP3 walk or did they flip him to the Suns? I don't remember. Whatever. But like they've been really close to our trajectory with the addition of SGA, which they got because of some crazy confluence of events in LA and Toronto and Kawhi being like, well, if you can get Paul George, then I'm coming too. So basically, they're trading for Paul George and Kawhi, and Oklahoma City gets to set the price. So yeah, they got a head start on the rebuild, and they're way more complete of a package. I'd say they're like 2 years ahead of us. Um, but the fact that we're the second seed and the fact that we're so like hot and cold on offense, or at least like I think Jalen's going to be the difference maker. I think he's going to be the one that decides whether it's a win or a loss. And I think we're lucking out that this is on the up of his up and down over the last week because I think what it's been like 6 games where he was like 28 points, 9 points, 31 points, 12 points, 41 points, and then like last night
Mm-hmm.
he had like 9 or whatever or 15. Uh if this is an up game for him, like we're hoping, we win. I think it's a convincing win. But I think it'll come down to him. Like he's our offensive, he's that missing like offensive chunk of the score. Like if he can get those 40, we're dropping 115 and winning. I don't think it's gonna be an issue. But OKC's got the number one defense. You know what I'm saying? So like an already bad shooting team against a really good offense. Isaiah Hartenstein is gonna be in the paint, fucking shit up for us. And they got perimeter defenders out the ass just like we do.
Yeah, man.
So,
And then
like you said, it's going to
remember,
be rough. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just remember J Dub last time he didn't have a good game against us. You got to
Mhm.
look out for him too. I'm sure he's going to be ready to go, man. So you got to pay a lot of attention to J Dub because he's a great player as well, man. Like,
Yeah, I irrationally hate him. Like I don't have a good reason to hate him. I just really don't like him. I don't know why.
no, I agree.
But
I am
he's
too.
so good. Like he's such a well-rounded young player and God, OKC scouting department is so good, dude.
Mhm.
Um But yeah, and they have Alex Caruso this time. They didn't have him last time either. So a good game from J Dub, an acceptable game from SGA, and Alex Caruso being back could be all the difference. Like that could just end it in the first quarter. Who knows? But personally, I think coming off of this win, the belief that they have in themselves, if we can put together like even a mediocre offensive night, I think we have a fighting chance. And I think they'll do it. I think it's going to be a win as well. Um, I hope we get Milwaukee in the finals if we do go, because I really want Giannis to lose to the Rockets.
Oh my God,
Like I
that would
really
be
need that. And
everything.
that's some like deep-seated old grudge hatred right there for me. Like starting back with his beef with James Harden. You know what I'm saying? So like I've never liked him because he comes off as very inauthentic to me, but Yeah, I would love it if we beat them in the finals. Well, raise the fucking banner. I don't care. The people can mock it. Raise the banner
Yeah.
and put L
Yeah.
Giannis on it. I don't give a fuck.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? This shit means something to me. So
Yeah,
if we
bro.
have a run of beating the Warriors, beating the Thunder, and beating the Bucks, that shit means something to me. I don't care.
Yes,
You can't
yes.
shame me into being upset about that.
That deserves celebration, bro. Fuck what anybody else talking about. It's mainly gonna
Facts.
be like Laker fans, Warrior fans coming out of nowhere talking shit, being hateful,
Mm-hmm.
just because LeBron's on a decline and Steve Kerr is bitching. So fuck them.
You know what's funny? There were a ton of obviously there were a ton of Warriors fans talking shit yesterday, but it was like surprising to me that so much of it, like the majority of it, was like, oh look, like they won one game in 16 and they're losing their minds, and I'm like, yeah, dude, we were rebuilding for like 4 of the last 5 fucking years, and we just won a cup game. This shit means something. Like how it shouldn't be upsetting to Warriors fans to lose this game. It should be emotional for Rockets fans to win it. Warriors fans should be like, we got 4 championships. We still got Steph Curry and Draymond Green. We got Hall of Famers on the team. Like, what do we really need to be upset about? Obviously the window is either closed or closing. But like, you couldn't really piss off the Spurs at the end of the dynasty run. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, what were you really gonna say? Oh, you still got Timmy, Manu, and Tony. Like, yeah, that's still a dub. Like, I get to see beautiful
Yes.
basketball every day. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So like, why were they so mad? That's what I want to know. Why were they so emotional about it? Why was Steve Kerr crying in the press conference? Motherfucker, you just won an Olympic medal. You won a title in 2022. Why are you crying about the NBA Cup? Bunch of pussies. That's why.
No, I mean, you know how it is, bro. They get knocked out of a cup by the Rockets. You know what I'm saying? A team that pretty much they dominated us, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back to when we had Dwight Howard and James
Mm-hmm.
Harden
Yeah.
together, bro.
It was
What is that?
2015, right?
Yes, that's like 9 years. That's insane
It's a full
run.
decade. They've been dominating us for a decade, really. Like when it comes
So
down to it, we've won some games, but we
yeah.
never beat them in a playoff series.
Mhm.
And then they dominated us for 4 straight fucking years while we were rebuilding, which fine. Including, I will never forget or forgive that embarrassing Christmas game where they didn't have Steph. They were rebuilding. It was just Draymond and a bunch of scrubs, and they beat James. And I think it was James and Russ, right?
Mhm.
And I was just like, dude, we not even without Steph, KD, and Clay, we still can't beat these fuckers.
But I remember one game when we had Chris Paul. I think it might have been 2019. We didn't have James for that game. He was out.
Yeah.
And we went to Golden State and won that game on the road. I think we were wearing that red jersey that everybody likes, and hopefully we can bring back one day because it was so dope. But we won that game, so there's been a lot of good memories too. It's
Yeah, we
just
won the
when,
one where KD stepped out of bounds, right? James Harden hit that three to win it.
yeah, that was a
Mm-hmm.
legendary game by James.
So like
Huge.
we've had our back and forth. We won some good ones.
Mhm. Yes, sir.
Anyway, let's move off of the Warriors again.
Fuck them.
Fuck the Warriors.
Fuck them,
I might just title this episode "Fuck the Warriors."
yeah, please.
I don't know. There's nothing really else I wanted to get off my chest, but like this was just such a cathartic, like emotional game for all of us. Like I listening to that spaces afterwards, even with guys getting emotional, whether it was real or not, I was just like, these are my people. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
this shit mattered so much to Houston fans to win a cup game at home against the Warriors and to have it be as painful as it was for the Warriors. I'll never forget this game. This is going down in my Hall of Fame. So yeah, people can be like, "Oh, raise the banner, whatever." They emotional about a December game. I love that shit, personally.
Yeah, man. The fact that Draymond was bitching about it too at the end, yes, bro. That's all I need.
I mean, whatever, you know. That's his thing. That's his thing. I gave him a lot of credit this episode for admitting what he admitted on the pod, but he's still a clown at the end of the day.
But you know what though? You know what though, Reason? I do give him a little credit at the end of the game. He was shaking players' hand, and I
Yeah,
saw him
I
like
saw that.
dapping up everybody. And
He
I'm like,
likes
man,
the Rockets. He likes a lot of those guys.
yeah. I'm like, man, respect to him. Like it was a hard fought battle, but he's still, You know what I'm saying? Like, man, you guys are doing your thing. He was talking to Fred a lot and everything, and like that's respect, bro. Like, it still will always be fuck Draymond, but
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? Credit to him.
Fuck
That,
Draymond in like in this case, in just like the sportsmanship way, like
yeah,
just like I get the fuck out of here. You're still Draymond Green.
yeah,
There's times when it's like fuck Draymond Green as a human being when he's putting people in chokeholds, clawing at people's eyes, that type of
absolutely,
shit.
yeah.
Fuck Draymond Green
Mm.
as a person. But now in this case, yeah, fuck Steph Curry, fuck the Warriors, Steve Kerr, Draymond. Also fuck the Mavericks and Klay Thompson. You're not exempt just because you left, you little bitch. Fuck Harrison
Well,
Barnes too. While we're at it, I don't give a fuck. We
mhm.
fuck all of them. Andrew Bogut. I hope your life sucks. I know it doesn't because you're a multimillionaire, but I hope your life sucks today. So many moving screens.
Sean Livingston, all the motherfuckers. Whoever was on that team,
I feel like
on
Sean
all those
Livingston.
teams.
I give him a pass because he like his knee exploded and he came back from that. That's
Mhm.
like a cool story for me. So I'm like, because I watched the game when he was on the Clippers and it happened. I was like, yeah, his career is over, and he came back to win like a title and shit. So I've always kind of respected him for that. So like in a nice way, fuck you, Sean Livingston, but
Yeah.
you have my respect.
Yeah,
I gotta
absolutely.
admit it.
Um,
But the rest of them, they can get fucked. I hope you all get priced out of your neighborhood. Steph Curry, you anti-affordable housing NIMBY motherfucker. I hate you so much. I'm glad that Aisha's restaurant didn't work out in Houston. I'm trying to open a barbecue restaurant in Houston from San Francisco. Get the fuck out of here. That's like trying to open a bagel place from Long Island from California. Get the fuck out of here. Just stick to your California pizza kitchen and keep it moving.
and that was like right around that time when we were, playing them in the playoffs, like right after they
Yeah,
beat
like
us.
what
Like, man,
did you
fuck
think
out
would
of here.
happen?
That shit's gonna get
Embarrassing.
vandalized and everything, bro. Like,
Oh, did you see Fertitta might get named as ambassador to Italy?
yeah, I saw that.
I don't know. I don't know if that affects the Rockets in any way. I'm not gonna get into the politics of it because I think everybody already knows my opinion. I've implied it very strongly in the past. Um, but I think it would be a good thing if he's more hands off. I'm always of the opinion that owners should be more hands off. Mark Cuban would be my nightmare scenario. But I've heard from the media or whatever that damn it, what's his name? Patrick Fertitta is like very hands on, right? So he's like in the front office, like on top of shit every day. I don't know how much I want him to have more influence on the team because, like you said, we're very happy with what Stone's done. Clearly, he has a vision, he has a plan, he's locked in, and it's working out. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. It remains to be seen. It's kind of funny that it's happening to our team. Like this is such a weird situation. We'll see what happens. I guess I just want to throw that out there. We'll see. Um, last thing for me, Alpi is an all-star. Period. It shouldn't be up for discussion anymore. I wanted to end it on a positive note. Like that's stamped now. He's on the MVP ladder. We're the second seed. Um, deep cup run. You can't tell me he doesn't make all-star game this year. Like absolutely bullshit if he doesn't. The Turkish fans are gonna vote like crazy because he just became the highest paid Turkish athlete, signing that extension, which congratulations. That's fucking amazing. Can you imagine being the highest paid athlete from your country? That sounds insane.
Well
Actually,
deserved.
you know what? I was gonna say I don't know what it is for India, but those cricketers make a shit ton of money. They're always on like the top 20 list of highest sports earners.
Mhm.
But yeah, like that's an amazing accomplishment. So shout out to him for that. But he's an all-star. And that's I'm not having that argument with anybody anymore.
Yeah, man. I mean, we've talked about him numerous times on this podcast and how well he's done on this team, bro. Improvement, progress, the defense, just playing lights out, improve as a rim protector, even on the perimeter. I mean, I can go all day, bro. We all know like how he's improved, and on offense, he's a
His
bucket.
timing has gotten so good on defense. Like he's catching up to dudes and getting like chase down blocks just from recovering in like from the perimeter or whatever. He's getting really good at that.
Remember that pass he had to Tari? I think towards the end of the
Dude,
game, he was like,
I had to
yeah.
rewind. I had to rewind because I didn't see it. Most people didn't see it on
Mhm.
like the first try. because I don't know with the camera angle, like Draymond cut it off real quick,
Yeah.
but he got that ball like under and through somehow. And credit to Atari for being ready for that dude, because I don't know, not a lot of players know to expect that kind of pass. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. From the center too.
KJ used to anticipate shit like that
My
when
God.
he was on the team. Speaking of KJ Martin, actually, this reminds me. I was watching, I think it's called Gil's Arena, right? The Gilberians podcast.
Mhm.
It was just him, or not. It wasn't him. It was Kenyon Martin, Swaggy P, and two other people. I don't know their names. And they were discussing whether or not Alpi would be an all-star. And obviously, I'm of the opinion he is already. I don't think it's a discussion. But then Kenyon Martin goes, "Who's the leading scorer? How much is Jalen?" He goes, "How much is Jalen Green averaging?" And somebody was like 19 points. Nobody scoring. They were like, nobody on the team is scoring above 20. He was like, "Oh, at 19, if he can get that up to like 22, 23, then he'd be an all-star." Some shit like that. He said something like that. He was like, "Oh, maybe he'll be the all-star from the Rockets." And I'm just like, it could not be more obvious who is watching Rockets games and who's not watching Rockets games. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah. No, but Tari and Amen is literally every podcast that's respectable or you know that talks
Sam
NBA
Vecini,
basketball.
Zach Lowe.
Yeah,
Sorry, not
they
to interrupt.
love them.
Real hoop heads. You just got to start. Tim Legler loves those guys.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
rave about them all day, and you see it on the floor, dude. In the first Warriors game, we came back because of Tari and his hustle. He was just balling out, and the man is just incredible athlete. Never gives up on a play. And that's really like the whole team, bro. Like we just never give up. We refuse to quit. And a big part of that are those two guys. So they got to show them some love.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it for me. Do you have anything else you wanted to touch on?
No, shout out to DJ, man. That clip was so fucking hilarious. I was crying, dog. But he's so right. Like I felt the same way. People wanted to talk shit about us and how emotional we were, but like shout out to DJ, man. That's my guy for real.
Yeah, I love that everybody is just like standing behind him and defending him.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't embarrassing to Rockets fans. We all felt that way at like whether we showed it like that or not. All of us felt that way. We know what he was feeling. So yeah, shout out to DJ. That was dope. I mean he's got his own podcast. He does the Apollo basketball podcast, right? Apollo NBA. I don't know what it's called exactly, but the Apollo Houston basketball podcast. He's on that. So if you want to show him some love, check that out. I think I don't have anything else. Thank you to everybody who watched and showed so much love and subscribed off of our last episode with Jackson.
Yeah,
shout out to Jackson for coming on. That was a fun episode.
Yes, sir.
We'll have him on again probably soon. And we'll have some other people on soon once they get their mics.
No, actually here already, bro. So we just
excuses. Let's go. All right, next episode we'll have a guest on. And I guarantee you he's got some good stories to tell. So we'll definitely get into those. But yeah, that's it. You can find me on Twitter and Bluesky at Reezy Season, REEZYSTN. You can find the podcast at Sittin Sideways _ We're also on Instagram and TikTok. And there is a Bluesky account, but I haven't tweeted anything from it, or I haven't skeeted anything from it.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that Instagram account up and going, dog. Y'all make sure y'all follow me on Twitter at Ikecuellar, IKECUELLAR. Make sure you guys are tapped in on YouTube and everywhere you get your podcast, though. We're gonna have some guests pretty soon, man. So y'all tap in.
Yeah, exciting time for our podcast, and I'll see it. So. As usual, fuck the Warriors. Go Houston. Love y'all. Peace.
Let's go.